Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We are back live on the 10K to $2 million funding challenge, sponsored by our amazing partners, Bespoke Funding Program. This is the last week that you can take advantage of their 1-year anniversary discount. You can use the affiliate link in my YouTube bio that will help support the stream, or you can use code Venator to get the 15% off an 85% profit split. So hope you guys had a great weekend. Glad to be back on the charts. It was good to be away from the charts for an entire weekend, actually. I opened the charts last night for about 30 minutes. That was the first time I looked at them, and then looked at them again this morning now that we've been up for a little bit, just to see what happened overnight with the London session. So we're going to get into some analysis here. We've got a good big week ahead of us. We need to pick a new chat pair today. Tomorrow we're giving away a 100K challenge. Friday we're giving away another 10K challenge. So a lot of cool stuff happening. And I'm glad you guys are here to be a part of it. So good morning, John and Mr. Alfie, Adrian, Beeswax, Shambies, welcome in. Yo, Cisco, what's going on? Red Ezekiel, hey, what's going on? Beeswax, we already said hey. Shadow Trades in early, good morning. Yes, the Texans absolutely crushed the Jacksonville Jaguars on yesterday's game, which was quite shocking, to be honest. Quite shocking. And meanwhile, the Astros, who are fighting for a playoff spot, lost again to a 100-loss team for like the fifth time in the last 7 times we played them. It's unbelievable. So I don't really care what happens to the Texans. I care more about the Astros, and they are just laying a big fat egg at the end of the season right now. Cisco says, John, you doing all individual greetings today, keeping it up through the whole stream. Oh, please, John, say good morning to everyone that comes in. That would be great. Good morning, Shalise. Welcome in. Glad to have you back. All right. So we took the L on Friday. It was a thank God it's Friday setup, and I was anticipating not putting in a low of the week, or that the low of the low of the week was in, and we would make a little retrace. And what ended up happening? Where was it? It was right here. I was not anticipating putting a low of the weekend at the end of Friday's trading session. Like, the low of the week was put in on the last 15-minute candle of Friday, which is extremely rare. Like, that just is a rarity. So I was anticipating that there would be a slight pullback, a TGIF classic pullback, and that's why I took that trade. I know it was counter trend. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, and you're like, oh well, that was a dumb trade. You shouldn't have taken it. But we took it, and we took the loss, and it's fine. The bad part is I've been thinking all weekend. Okay, what do I do now? What is the process forward from here? My other funded accounts, they're all fine. I care about this account. Like, I care because I'm obviously here showing you guys every single day how to do this. The question becomes, do I just maintain my current risk profile? I haven't made a new losing streak. I am, with the updated stats, I'm 1.7% on the 2K challenge over here underneath my picture. The phase 2 challenge is, I have 1.7% drawdown left to work with. On the funded account, I have basically 2% left. And on the 100K, I still have a full 3% left to work with. So I'm trying to decide how to approach if I keep my risk profile exactly the same. I would have one more trade to take. If it loses, I would lose the 10K funded. I would lose the phase 2 challenge, and I would still have 1% left on the 100K. If I reduce risk across the board, I could get 2 more trades before violating the drawdown limit. I would have to lose 2 more trades. They're 10K accounts. So for me, and I know this is not for everyone, but for me, the 10K account it's a 10K account. I am well above my return on investment on this initial 10K funded account. I spent like 90 with the discount I got. I think it was like just under $100. I bought it. I got funded. I got a payout of like $600, and I bought the other. I got my refund plus the phase 1 100K challenge. So I had a return on investment of over 600% there. I 6x'd my initial return, and we're still with that initial return now. So it's not like I didn't get my money's worth from this 10K funded account. The question is should I just keep the 2% risk profile that I have? I have one more shot. I can, if the next trade wins, I'll be back to 4% drawdown. And then we can just keep doing what we're doing, or we know that we take another loss, we will breach the phase 2 and the funded, and we'll have to pick up another 10K account, which is another $100, which quite honestly, it's fine. And we just start. It extends the process, but we would still have the 100K challenge going as well, because it will not have breached. So I'm just trying to decide what I want to do here. And quite honestly, I have not made a decision. If I were to breach both of these accounts, I believe and I think what I'm going to do is reload a 10K account, and I would just trade my trading and not just use the one strategy. I would incorporate all of my trading techniques moving forward. I think what that means is that there would be trades that I would call off of the stream, that you wouldn't see every trade live on the stream, because I do set limit orders heading into London sessions often. And that could be, you would get them on Discord, you would get them on Twitter and stuff, but you wouldn't necessarily get them here on the live stream all the time. We would still use the breaker strategy. I would incorporate the other 2 things that I do as well. And so I'm just I don't know what to do, quite honestly. I don't know what to do. I'm still on the fence, and I'm waffling about where to go from here. So if chat, you have any thoughts, that would be, I would love to hear what you think. I know there are some that are probably like, reduce your risk, protect your account, do everything you can to not violate drawdown. And I get that. And in a normal, if this were a 100K account or something, I hate to throw around the word significant. If it was something a little more significant, I probably would. But because it is the 10, I feel a little bit differently about it. What else would I say? Then there's going to be some that would say, just do it. It's the 10K. You can reload a 10K. You'll be back at a fresh account 0, and you can move on from there. You don't have to dig yourself out of all the drawdown. Then there's some that are like, no, we want to see you get out of drawdown, so just reduce risk and see how long it takes. There's a time factor only in that the time factor doesn't really come into play much for me. It's not like I'm trying to rush to get to $1 million. But at the same time, I'm also like, well, this is the tempting part of when you know you're 1.6 or 7% away from drawdown. And it is a 10K account. You're like, well, I could spend the other with their discount code, the 22.5% off. I'm probably spending under $100 to reset this thing. Basically, it's basically a reset. So I don't know. I'm on the fence and I've not made a decision, I guess is what I'm saying. So if the chat has any thoughts or opinions, I would love to hear them. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer about what I should do. And in the end, it's my decision and I get to do whatever I want. But I would like to know, you guys are the ones that are here watching, and you guys are the ones that are here, hopefully finding this helpful. And what I don't want to do is encourage you when you get this low into your drawdown to just F it all and, screw it. We're full porting on the next trade. That's definitely not the way to approach it. Part of the other reason is one of the reasons I'm thinking about keeping it the same, not reducing my risk, is that the 100K would still have 1% left if it took another loss. So, and that's the largest account that I would care about, like really trying to protect it. So maybe I go to 1% on the 100K challenge. And that would leave me 3 trades left, and I could build it back up to like 5% drawdown or, 3% drawdown before I risked up again, and leave the 10Ks at 2% and leave the 100K at 1%, maybe reduce risk on 100K. I don't know. I'm still kind of all over the place about it, quite honestly. I just don't have a good, regardless of what's happening on the charts, this is the trade management side that I honestly, and this is just me being totally transparent, I just had not had a good plan of action for what's going to happen if I get down this low and the accounts are at different places, and one like 10Ks, 100Ks, they're at different values and I value them differently. So I don't know. Chat, if you got thoughts, let me know. And then we'll get in here. John, of course you love the Royals. I'm sure you do. We'll do some analysis here in just a minute. Saying hi is making it feel like a Walmart diversity hire standing in front of the entrance. What's up, Ben A? Good morning. Ben says, I used to take trades like that anticipating the high low of the day was in, but realized it's stupid to assume something without any real evidence. Started taking losses, so removing my plan. Yeah, I typically do as well. It happens very frequently on the Fridays, and that's what the evidence I was using was just experience. It had run a low, it had displaced through, and so that was where we were going. Good morning, Victor Niamo. Welcome in. Adrian, you at Dollar Swiss, my chat pair vote for the week. Okay, we got $1 Swiss. We got a vote in for Dollar Swiss. We'll see if anybody else follows through. What's up, Ashok? Abel, good morning. Blitz Dinah. Hey, hope you're having a great day. Dollar Yen, we'll look at in just a minute. Last week's chat pair. John is one of the elders here, Cisco. That is absolutely correct. Good morning, Corey. OG Corey, welcome in. Suryadev, the account is down 7%, right? Are you planning to reduce the risk to 1? Just talk through that. So any thoughts you might have, I'd love to hear them. Maybe reduce risk on the funded one, but not the phase 2 or the 100K. Gotcha. Shalise, reduce risk and continue with the breaker strategy. Cool. Loyalty family, majority of you winning trades you have called you were never tagged in because entry was so extreme. Twist entries for premium discount zones only. Trader Mike looks for discount zones. Yeah, Trader Mike's got a similar strategy. He just uses the 50%. Barat says you should lower your risk to say quarter or half and then try to come back up to break even. Just my opinion. Adrian says lower risk, keep the same strategy. Cisco says, yeah, I would be in multiple minds too. Mr. Alfie, I've heard Brad Handouts is giving away a 100K account tomorrow. Maybe you should enter and blow your 10K one. I just keep the 100K giveaway, award it to myself. Yeah, he does it all on purpose. That's right. Adrian, Dolphins destroyed the Broncos. Yeah, there was a couple blowouts yesterday. The Bills blew out, who did they play? Washington. There's several blowouts. EN chat pair. I see EN and Dollar Swiss. Ben says reduce risk to 1% unless you get to 3 to 5% drawdown, or until you get to 3% drawdown. Well, it seems most are just wanting to go the reduced risk route and keep plugging away. So probably that's what we'll do. We'll see. Let's get into some analysis, shall we? It's Monday. Oh, it's the last week of the month. We have, let me pull up my Forex Factory news here. No news today for dollar. Tomorrow we've got a consumer confidence report that comes out at 10. Wednesday is there's basically no news Wednesday. There's no red folder news on Wednesday. Thursday there's a couple of euro dollar red folder things. There's GDP and unemployment claims Thursday for dollar, and then Friday we've got core price index month over month. So not a heavy news week. A couple days in there that have some potential volatile markups happening. It's the last week of the month. We have to keep that in mind. Let's get into our analysis. I'm going to start on the monthly time frame for the dollar. So monthly time frame for the dollar, we tapped into our fair value gap, this monthly fair value gap. We tapped into it and we have just rocketed off. When this happens, we immediately begin to look for where is the buy side liquidity. Well, internally it's right here. Externally it's here. Relative equal highs, which we've had pointed out. And then we've got this sell side imbalance right here, this large monthly sell side imbalance right here. Whether we get up there into that, we take out these relative equal highs right here and tap into that imbalance. There's a big part of me that thinks we're going to refill this whole block right here. This is a monthly. I don't know that we come all the way up to fill in this bottom wick. Maybe we do, but I believe we at least fill into the bottom of this wick here, into this imbalance before we see a significant pullback. These highs we've been targeting for still quite a while. We're in the last week of our September monthly candle. So we've had our open, our low, which tapped into this order block right here, wick to body, and then shot up. We're coming into our relative equal highs, which we have been very bullish on the dollar to take out. We've run up to them and we've paused. We haven't taken them out yet. I don't know that happens this week. Excuse me. I'm more inclined to think it's going to happen this week, but I don't know. Maybe it's next week. Maybe it's the first week of October. Either way, I'm still bullish on the DXY until we take out those relative equal highs and we dig into this monthly sell side imbalance, this monthly fair value gap. All right, that's the monthly. All right, so keep that in mind as we look at this, because we're going to blend this analysis with EU and GU. Okay. So still bullish, still want to see these relative equal highs taken out. That's the main thing I'm focusing on. And then how far are we going to dig into this imbalance right here? on the monthly time frame. On the weekly, you can see we're just extremely bullish. We've had 10, 11 weeks in a row now of just massive bullish price action. I don't want to get into the business of trying to call a top. Is it due for a pullback? Yeah, obviously, this thing is due for a pullback at some point. Perhaps we come down into this candle here, the low of the week or the high of the week 2 weeks ago. Maybe we want to rebalance some of that. I don't know, before we run this higher and we take out these relative equal highs and we start getting up into this monthly imbalance. This big red pink box is our monthly imbalance. Okay. I'm going to take this off because it doesn't matter. That's kind of what I'm anticipating on the daily time frame. What we're looking at is we're sitting right inside of a volume imbalance currently, right here. This small little volume imbalance right here is where we're sitting inside of, and it's holding price down. The relative equal highs rest just above that volume imbalance. And then you have a small fair value gap on the daily time frame that's inside of the monthly sell side imbalance. So bullish, still bullish. I'm very much still anticipating a run into those relative equal highs and into this liquidity. Rebalance some of this sell side imbalance here on the monthly time frame. That's my anticipation. You do have this volume imbalance, and inside this volume imbalance, you have a fair value gap. Perhaps this is the low of the week. You come back in, on the weekly. Remember, I said you could come back down into this wick or maybe back into this volume imbalance. Maybe that's the low of the week. I don't know. It doesn't have to come back down any further. We're just going to watch and wait. Oh, excuse me. I'm not in any massive hurry here to jump into a trade right off the bat on a Monday. If we see just a primo setup, maybe we'll take it. It has failed. The London push up failed to take out last week's high on the dollar. And you can see this is our relative equal highs, this red line, and then our monthly imbalance fair value gap is resting up above here. So perhaps we dip into some sell side and then run up, maybe some sell side into here. I'm just going to watch for any kind of move against my bias to see if it creates displacement away. That's the main focus. Is there any grab of sell side liquidity, and then we get displacement away towards our higher time frame objective? That's the main thing I'm going to be looking for. All right, let's jump over to euro dollar, and we're going to look and see what we see. So here is the same monthly imbalance on euro dollar. It's quite a ways away from our dollar blend. I don't know that the euro dollar is going to come down this far. I tend to believe it will. I'm still bullish on the dollar, and because the dollar has so much of this imbalance, I think it could fill in this entire thing, and by the time it fills in this entire thing, euro dollar could tap down into just the bottom of this. I'm not sure euro dollar fills in this entirety of that, but I think it could touch it while dollar fills it in, if that makes sense. So we have taken out our end of September candle here. We've taken out that low. This was our initial higher time frame objective all month long. We've tapped into it. The question is, are we going to close below this low, or is the body of this candle going to close back up? Are we going to take it out and then close below this low? Do we just want to tap into it? I don't know what's going to happen here, but because I'm bullish on dollar, because it hasn't reached its higher time frame objective, I'm still bearish on EU and GU. I'm still going to be looking for trades that move in the direction with my higher time frame bias. So here on the weekly, you can see we've had massive pullback after tapping into this higher time frame objective. We grabbed buy side liquidity, we've displaced through, we created a breaker block right here, came back up. There was not a good fair value gap, maybe a tiny fair value gap right here, but this is a weekly, right? So breaker trades through, comes back up on this candle into the breaker and rejects off. This is a very large breaker right here, but we haven't completely displaced through it just yet. So on the daily time frame, last week we had a breaker, we had a fair value gap. The high of the week was on the Wednesday here. Tapped right up into the high of the week, into that fair value gap, into the breaker, and then it rejected off, closing near the lows. Not at the same lows that GU did. It closed back above this area. The bodies of all of these candles have not closed below here. And today we opened down, and then we've been pushing back up. Let's jump down to the 15-minute. I'm still bearish. We haven't taken out Friday's low over here. Sorry, Friday's low right here. We haven't taken it out. And so you have a pullback currently. EU ran the Asian highs here. Well, not all the Asian highs. That's the Asian high, but it did run a little bit of buy side and displaced away. You have a nice little breaker. It's coming back up into that currently. It's not a good, clean, fair value gap. I don't know that I would just want to take this blindly right now on Monday. It's very interesting that it left these Friday's lows in place. Here's the other thing about this is I forgot to mention this on the weekly time frame. This is what I saw on Euro Dollar weekly time frame. Okay, so here's the monthly. This is that monthly imbalance on Euro Dollar right here. Okay. We've tapped into these lows. This is our longer term target. And what did price do right here before it came? It didn't run this low. It aggressively came down, kept trying to dig into that low, and it left it. And then it ran back up. We ran more buy side, and now we're trading back down through. This is the target that I have my eye on. If Euro Dollar doesn't want to come down to the monthly, sorry, you can't see that. I just realized this swing low right here, this one right here, is I think where Euro Dollar may want to get to. This represents a low resistance liquidity run. So if it reaches down into this, it's going to fly through this. This area is not my interest. This is. So this is the low resistance liquidity run between here and here because it left this liquidity in place the last time it came to it. As it comes back down, even if you get a pullback up, when it comes back down to this, it's going to just blow right through this low. It's going to be reaching for this low here. And then you've got the monthly imbalance below that even further. But this is the low resistance liquidity run that if we start running down into that, this isn't where you should be watching this wick right here. This is the one that holds the liquidity. This is the one that failed to take that liquidity. So when it gets taken, it's just going to pop right through there. It's going to reach down into that. All right, 15 minutes. Go back to 15 minutes. I meant to say that earlier. I just forgot. So yeah, I'm going to be looking for runs of liquidity to the buy side and then displacement lower to see if we can get involved in a move. We did get on the Euro Dollar this morning a move up above liquidity. It dropped down. It failed to take out Friday's low. That's still the first objective for the week, is last Friday's low. We've had a pullback here. We are opening up into the 730 candle just now. We reached back up right into, depending on whether you use this down close candle or these two, you do have a breaker here that once it trades through that and violates it, that becomes a breaker. It's come back up into it. Not a good clean fair value gap in there, so it's not super clean. GU. Let's look at GU on the monthly here. We'll pop up. Obviously, last week closed a very bearish. We have taken out all of the sell side liquidity objectives here. We're violating PD arrays on the higher time frame. This was a bullish order block. Price should have, as it did here, reach down into this order block and then reject higher, and it has not. Instead, it has traded through and currently displaced through this order block. So once this order block, if this weak candle closes below here, this becomes a breaker. We've displaced through and created a change of character on the monthly time frame and a breaker block right here. So potentially in October, you get a push back up. If this week closes bearish, you get a push back up into wick to body. Look for a wick to body retrace into here, and then you could potentially see lower prices. Obviously, you have the monthly time frame drawn liquidity. You have a very large fair value gap back up under here. These higher time frames ones I like to what am I doing? So monthly fair value gap here on, so I'm still anticipating lower prices. As long as the dollar remains bullish, I'm going to be anticipating a weaker foreign currency there. So violating this order block here would basically cement in my mind, yes, we're still going to head lower. On the weekly, obviously some imbalances behind you, but you just created this breaker right here on the weekly time frame. Take the last down close candle, we run buy side liquidity, we've displaced through it, fair value gap. So potentially in October you get a run back up into this breaker here, and then you continue lower. Obvious, this is the monthly. You have below us currently, you have a volume imbalance on the weekly time frame. You have a fair value gap on the weekly time frame right here. So this volume imbalance, I think we're heading down into that. And I think ultimately we're heading into this fair value gap. And I don't know when, but I think this will be retested. This monthly fair value gap here will be retested once, twice. I don't know that we get down all the way to this low. We'll see. Maybe we do. Again, not to say that we won't get a pullback before then, but right now we're still very heavy in a bearish order flow. We're disrespecting all of the bullish PD arrays. We're violating fair value gaps. We're trading through down closed candles. We're just blowing right past them. And so when that happens, your bias switches. We've been bearish on this for a while, but when you look at the higher time frames, we're just blowing through all of the higher time frame PD arrays. We're just completely ignoring them. And they're not holding, they might pause price, but they're not holding price up any longer. So now we would be looking for moves into buy side liquidity that create displacement into the direction of our higher time frame bias. On the daily time frame, obvious some larger fair value gaps. You have a breaker here. These three candles together are a daily breaker. You could just use the bottom one here. There's a nice fair value gap inside of it. So any pullback up into this daily candle, this daily candle right here, any pullback up into that with these fair value gaps blended with that, I would be anticipating on lower time frames a reversal that would start sending this lower. So if this does pull back, this is where I would anticipate some issues. Maybe up into this daily order block, which is still inside this 3 candle breaker on the daily time frame. On the lower time frames, on our entry time frame, you did have this breaker here. Overnight, ran buy side liquidity. We displaced through. It just has come back up into it just now, and it's falling away pretty aggressively. I didn't want to call this as soon as I got on the stream. I did see this and have it marked up. You would see this marked up at the beginning of the stream. I didn't want to call this out because it's the first candle as I opened the Monday, the first week and the first live stream, and I just don't like doing that. Mondays are my least profitable days. I've said that before. And so I didn't feel comfortable calling this out. If you took this as a breaker, it's valid. So if it fits your system and you trade Mondays, go for it. I don't trade Mondays on any of my funded accounts. I think I've maybe taken two trades on a Monday since I've started the stream. Out of 100 live streams, I think I've taken 2 trades on a Monday. And I'd have to go back and look. It's not many at all. I just typically don't trade Mondays. Mondays are typically shorter streams. I'm just waiting to see what the clues give after the Monday session is over. That's really what I wait for on Mondays. So if you took this trade, still valid setup. You have a breaker, a very clear breaker. It ran buy side liquidity here and here, displaced away, fair value gap, nested inside. Take 50% right at the bottom of that, at the top of that fair value gap. Your stop would be here or here, either one. I probably would have, it's only 6 pips on GU. I probably would have had like a 7 pip stop just because that's kind of the minimum. And you know, it would be pretty healthily in profits there. You would have had some heat on that drawdown. It does go all the way to the top of that breaker before it falls off. I think if it gets below the low of the current candle, if it were to make a new low here off of this 15-minute, I'd probably move to break even if I was in that trade. Somewhere around the low of the candle that it's in right now. All right, that's kind of our analysis for dollar blended with euro and pound. I'm still going to be looking for buy-side liquidity runs, and then I'm going to be looking for displacement away in the direction of my higher time frame bias. That's what I'm going to stick with. All right. GJ, we still have not changed a higher time frame structure. Until we take out that low here on GJ, there really isn't a change of structure anywhere. This is just, we've made a higher high. Are we making a higher low? TBD. We don't know yet. Last week was very bearish. We've had 2 weeks of very bearish price action on GJ. On the daily time frame, we have changed structure, but the weekly is still valid and still holding. You could potentially switch your bias here on the higher time frame with the dollar. If you just use the dollar chart, then there's a case to be made that we have changed structure. We've run buy side liquidity. We're waiting for displacement below this low, and then you would have a breaker in here. You do have a fair value gap just above. So Friday's high with Wednesday's low, there's a little breaker or a little fair value gap right here. You might see a pullback into that. This volume imbalance, this fair value gap, if it comes back up into it, it held price up here, here, and here, came back up. We traded and closed below it, and then we've had rejection on the top side after trading through that fair value gap. So this inverted fair value gap here is what pushed price down. It held price up here, and then once it closed below, it held price down here. If it comes back up into this fair value gap, we'll watch and wait and see what happens. That's kind of what I'll just be looking for on GJ. GJ has been pretty ugly on the lower time frames. Just not a lot of good clean price action anywhere. We did finally get a push down on Thursday, pulled back up into that fair value gap, and we're just kind of consolidating more. It's just been hard to get a vibe on where GJ's going. We do know the Bank of Japan is pushing forward to strengthen its currency. And when they step in, it could introduce a lot of weakness with the yen pairs that have just been on a massive bull run. Dollar yen still pushing up. Higher time frame draw liquidity up here on the dollar yen. This swing level here. So we're watching and waiting. It's approaching it now on Monday. Maybe you get a Monday, Tuesday push up, and then you get a little bit of reprieve there at the end of the week. But that's the chat pair from last week, so we won't use that again this week. Doesn't mean we won't be looking at it. It just means it won't sit up here in our watch list, our daily watch list. US 30 still weak. It was weak yesterday. It was weak overnight. It's taken out Friday's low. I would anticipate some more weakness here. Same with S&P and same with NAS. All right, chat pair for the week. Let's jump in and do some chat pair for the week. I don't know if you're in that GU trade. Let me know. It's approaching a new low here on that 15-minute. If you're in that GU trade, I would highly recommend you guys move to break even if it makes a new low here on this candle. That's about 1.5 R of profit there that you should lock in and make that a risk-free trade. Excuse me. All right. Chat pair for the week. Let's see. I saw a dollar Swiss. I saw somebody say EN. I'm going to scroll back up. Oh, excuse me. And just check out some chat stuff while we're getting there. So put your chat pairs in on the chat, and we'll do a vote here shortly. Colorado was a blowout, says John. I'm acquaintances with the head coach of the Oregon Ducks. We ran in the same football circles before he began his collegiate career. That's cool. That's cool. Here we go. JewFX, welcome back in. Been offline, was traveling these 3 days. Well, welcome. Glad you're back on the stream. Red Ezekiel, why doesn't Bespoke ban the contestants on the competition who violated the rules, mostly on the top 10 used over leverage? I'm sure that they will have some kind of filter in place to make sure if someone did violate the rules, they would be penalized. But I can ask. I haven't done the competitions, but I can ask and see. Let me get back. Where'd my chat go? Oh, there it is. Red Ezekiel says I might make it in the top 50 if they removed those who violated the rules. Well, maybe you still will. There's a week to go, and at the end of the month, maybe they just kick everybody out who broke the rules. Cisco, when you can you look at EN or GN and tell me if you think they will still reach down to the daily lows that I think they're reaching for? Yes, we can look at those. We can do that now. It's fine. Oh yeah, these lows right here. I think those get swept. I know that's the lower time frame, but yeah, I think that gets swept. Last week's low is definitely in play. Last week's low we closed and displaced below this. Let me take all this out. So my weekly higher time frame bias immediately goes to this week's low because we displaced below the week prior's low. So yeah, I think we're going to reach down into that low there. These relative equal lows here on the weekly time frame, I think are probably your higher time frame objective. We've tapped up into buy side and we're pulling back pretty aggressively. We'll see how this month closes out. On the weekly, you're in an uptrend, so it is a bit of a counter trend trade until we change structure here. The daily has, the weekly has not. So it is a little bit of mixed confluence there, but you've broken structure. You're making lower lows, lower highs all the way down. So yes, I would still, we have closed and traded through this fair value gap right here. We've tapped up into it as the week began, and it's acting as an inverted fair value gap now. So I think, yeah, I think down here, I think for sure Friday's low is in play, and then I would immediately turn my attention to these relative equal lows inside this fair value gap. You also have this volume imbalance here beneath those relative equal lows. I would be looking for a run of liquidity in the opposite direction. If you're using the breaker strategy, I would look for a run above old highs and then displacement lower. If you're using any other kind of strategy, a fair value gap, a premium discount, an OTE, an order block, whatever it is, I would be looking for some type of entry that is selling off here. What's up, Saeem? Welcome in. Java Trader, hello. Welcome in. Glad you're here. Venator, did you listen to ICT Space? It was a bomb. I did not listen to ICT Space. I haven't listened to any of his spaces in several months. When I listen to his spaces, I got to make sure my kids aren't around. He has difficulty expressing himself without vulgarity. He can go off pretty quickly. You definitely see his bipolar disorder coming into play pretty aggressively on some of his spaces, which, you know, he's very open and honest about, and I get that. But yeah, it's definitely you probably definitely don't want to just blare that over your speakers if you've got kids around. For sure. I would definitely be moving to break even there. It's made a new low. I would definitely, as it pushes through there, that's where I would be moving to break even on GU if you're in it. Saeem says he was talking about his son and suggesting everyone to drop to 30-second chart and target 10 handles. Good God. I'm on live chat, Cisco. Thank you very much. It sounds ridiculous, but it works. I was amazed to see the results. Drop down to the 1 minute. Everything will start making sense. Do not drop down to the 1 minute. It does not make sense. You're going to get chopped the hell up. And definitely don't go to the 30-second chart. That is the absolute worst advice I've ever heard in my entire life. Just because he's been trading for 30 years and he feels comfortable standing over his son's shoulder, telling him what to do and when to do it, does not mean you can replicate that. And the chances that you can consistently replicate that on a fast moving chart, get your orders in, analyze it, execute with confidence every single day, it's not going to happen. It's a pipe dream. Let it go. I don't care what ICT says. Do not trade the 30-second chart. Don't do it. You want to talk about if you're having trouble with psychology and controlling your emotions on a 15-minute chart or a 1-hour chart, you are absolutely doomed and destined for destruction and account blow up after account blow up on the 30-second chart. Dumb. Absolutely dumb. Cisco, he missed my ICT comment about if he was ICT, he would have said that that he deliberately went into drawdown to show how to get out. I did not deliberately go into drawdown. I never have. No one, I guess there would be a reason to want to go into drawdown just to prove that you could get out of it. I do not carry that. I do not feel that burden of proof needed. I have no desire to be in drawdown. This breaker is working out really nicely here. I think I saw Shadow Trades post that he took that trade in the Discord. So way to go, Shadow. You should be taking TP. Hopefully that was on your brand new 10K challenge that you just won. And hopefully you're reaping and in profits on that. But that looks like a really nice trade. Dollar CAD, vote for Dollar CAD. I see that. Venator is Venator. He can be compared. He can't be compared. I can be compared. I am probably comparison to many normal people that are just trying to make a living doing what we all have fallen in love with doing. Oil, says John. There's a vote for Oil. Mr. Alfie, I bet he's not changed his chat settings. I have to do mine every day. I do have to change them every day. Sometimes I do them late, but I do change it now every single day. At the top of the chat box, yeah, you have to have live chat on. Good morning, David Dreams. Welcome in. You haven't missed anything. We talked through this setup on GU. It was Monday. I saw it as we were opening our session. I did not take it because it was the first candle of the first live stream of the first day of the week. And I'm not ready to jump into a trade as soon as I open my chart and turn on my computer after having not really looked at much all weekend long. So while this breaker does work out, we had a run of liquidity, displacement away, breaker, fair value gap nested inside. It comes back up. My entry would have been at 50% right at the bottom of that fair value gap, or right at the top of that fair value gap. And it looks like it would have worked out had I actually taken that. And that's fine. Even though I didn't. I'm fine with not taking a trade on Mondays. Euro dollar pulling back away too. Did take out a little buy side liquidity there. Not much of a dig, but it did. All right, so I think we've seen dollar Swiss, we've seen dollar CAD, we've seen oil. Are there any other chat pairs you want me to put in the poll? And we'll get that squared away. That's probably the next thing we should do. And if there's any analysis you want to do on other pairs, we can look at it as well. I'm still TBD on what I'm going to do about this risk. I'm still TBD. I don't know. John, why you got to throw that in there? Come on, man. I saw a stat from a prop firm, not Bespoke. Another prop firm put out a stat that said the majority of traders who are blowing challenges and losing funded accounts trade gold. That it is the most traded asset, and it's also the asset that has the most failed challenges and losses on funded accounts. And his comment was basically like, I don't understand the infatuation with gold. No one can trade it well. There's very few people that have success trading gold well. TP would have been hit here on that Discord, or on that Discord. TP would have been hit here on this GU breaker if you were in that trade. Did anybody take that besides Shadow? I know Shadow posted, at least he posted a screenshot of it. I don't know if he actually took it, but anybody take this GU breaker here this morning as we opened up? Nice little pullback after the London session, got into an OTE from this leg down. Pulled right back up into the top of that OTE. Even if you had put your entry there, your stop would have been above that OTE and it still is protected. If you take OTE strategies, you would be targeting these lows here or one of these extensions down here. That's the beauty of an optimal trade entry, is you can get a little bit of a, you would have had your stop up here and you would be targeting at least a 0.27 or a 0.5. I would probably be targeting that first 0.27 extension, which gives you a 1 to 3. But you could do the 1 to 5 and get almost a 1 to 4 on there. I use OTE strategies on my other. I use OT entries on my other strategies, and they do work really well. I use them on the higher time frames, and so you don't. They're not super. I don't know. They just take longer to get triggered in. They take longer to play out. I could call them out, but on Discord and Twitter, but that's not the point of what we do here. I don't want to just be a signal service. I don't want to just tell you every single trade I'm taking and why. That's not super helpful. I think live streaming and talking through psychology and the emotions of it all and highlighting one specific strategy playing out on these lower time frames is probably more helpful overall in the end, which is why I do what we do. I'm going to go back to, come on. Let's get back. There we go. Corey says he's in it, but it was a different setup. Gotcha. All right, so I've seen gold, I've seen dollar Swiss, I've seen dollar CAD, and oil. I haven't seen, I don't know, I guess we could do 4, but John actually had 2 votes. He said oil or gold, and because he said oil first, we'll do oil. When we're going to ignore his second vote because you only get 1 vote. All right, let me get to the... All right, we're going to do a poll. It's going to be USD CAD. It's going to be USD Swiss. And John said oil. There you go. Vote away. Vote away. Did I switch to top chat? I don't think I did. Oh, you're talking to John. Yeah, if you above the chat box, there should be it says top chat. If you click on it, you can have top chat or live chat. Live chat shows you everything. I don't know why top chat, what filter it uses to make, like, I don't know why it thinks some things should just be ignored, but GU ripping lower. Dollar has found some support here off of this breaker. Run up, down, grab liquidity. We finally displaced through. It's come back down into this breaker right there and found some support. Let's see. It looks like dollar CAD is pulling away pretty aggressively here. Only 10 votes, though. Hey, like that stream. We've got 33 viewers in here right now. I don't know what the likes are up to, but you can definitely like that stream. And only 10 of the 33 have voted. So dollar CAD may not be the final answer. Looking at Euro New Zealand, I don't know if that was Cisco or not. This 30-minute breaker right here is probably where I would look to see if we get a reaction off of, or maybe even just trade it straight up. This fair value gap off of this breaker right here. Last down close candle before we started running buy side. Yeah. Could potentially get back up into this one, this order block here, but I think you would anticipate a move. This would be your sell level here on Euro New Zealand if it does pull back up any higher. Something like that. You could either do 1 to 2, or you could just target last week's low for a 1 to 4. I would probably just do 1 to 2 and then wait for another entry to see if you could maybe stack those accounts, but you would lock in that 1 to 2 for sure, I think. That's Ian, the more I look at it. All right, what are we up to now? 15 votes. Dollar CAD still well into the lead. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Oh. Up to 18 likes, 19 likes. That's nice. Tomorrow, let's see, what is it? We're at 8 o'clock. So what did I say? I think 9 o'clock tomorrow, we're doing the 100K giveaway. I think that was on my pinned post, 9 a.m. New York time. So almost 24 hours from now, we'll be giving away a 100 count to someone on the live stream. I'm super excited about that, and I'm thrilled that Bespoke would give us the opportunity to not only celebrate the live stream in such a big way, but give that opportunity to one of you guys here on the stream. So hopefully it's one of our OG viewers here that's in here every day. The thing with being an OG viewer is someone could win and they're just not in the chat, but they're in here every day watching. We average about 200 views a day on the live stream. By the end of the live stream, we're right around 200 people that have come in and out. And there's only maybe, I don't know, 15 to 20 of you that are in the chat consistently. But that doesn't mean that the people who are here watching that aren't in the chat aren't OG viewers. So it's kind of hard to tell because just because they don't pop in the chat and say hi, you kind of feel like they're not OG. So, but they are. They're here every day. They're watching. We have people that come in for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, and then they bail. And we have a couple hundred of them, that people that do that every single day. Aussie's grabbed buy side liquidity here. If it can displace down below some lows here, you might have to target these lows in this higher time frame, draw liquidity down here. Probably where we're headed. Nice little pullback up into this fair value gap. Easy sell off of that breaker right here. Grab buy side, displace. Man, weren't paying attention to that. That could have been a nice little sell off of that area there. Very clear sell side liquidity to target. If it does displace through here, then you could be looking for another sell to take out these lows down here. All right, 23 votes. Dollar CAD is well in the lead. I don't think if everyone else voted that would change much. So Dollar CAD it is. Dollar CAD it is. So let's pull it up and do some looky-loos. If I'm bullish on dollar, then I'm looking for the dollar to, I'm looking to buy the dollar. So I'm going to be looking for runs of sell side liquidity, and then I'm going to be looking for displacement away into our higher time frame direction. If we jump up to the monthly, we've just been in a big consolidation. We have broken this high. We've pulled back into this monthly fair value gap right here, and it has held price up on the monthly time frame. Currently, this month, dollar stabbed up into these highs and it's pulled back. We're just below the monthly open we had the last week. We've been in a pretty choppy overall area. We've grabbed sell side liquidity and we've pushed up. We have failed to displace above this high. All we have done is tap into buy side and pull back. This is the last leg up. This low to this high. We've tapped into a discount last week. We tapped into that discount into this fair value gap and we rejected off of it. Currently, we have opened and pushed a little bit lower. On the daily, we have had a break of structure here. We have grabbed buy side liquidity and we have displaced lower, came back up into on Thursday, came back up into this breaker here, this daily breaker right there, this order block with that breaker, and has pulled off. We've had quite a bit of rejection off of these lows. There's really not a good clean fair value gap other than it just reaching into a discount of that higher time frame push up. So we reached into a discount and we've pulled back off. 4 hour. Nice little trend line here. Retail represents sell side liquidity. All of that is sell side liquidity. If you're long, your stops are moved up underneath these areas. If I'm bullish on the dollar, I would be looking for these levels here. This represents a low resistance liquidity run. We came back up into it and failed to take that out. Next time we come up to it, I would anticipate that getting run pretty aggressively if it does come back up that way. Buy side liquidity targets up here on the 1 hour. Some nice relative equal highs up here. You do have this sell side retail trend line here. Could represent you might want to tap down into that before it runs that. Again, it came right up to these highs and then fell away. This is a low resistance liquidity run here. Came right up to it and then popped down. So next time it comes up here, this is where it's reaching, not here. It's going to reach for this, not this. Maybe even these up here, but I would not. If it's going to tap this, it's going to run these because it left that in place last time. Into these fair value gaps here. Currently holding price up. Sorry. I'm doing analysis in my head and I'm not talking it through while I'm just a brain fart. It doesn't help the stream if I'm doing analysis and you're not listening. Noticing just here, this OTE, there's a fair value gap down here around this OTE of this leg up. If you get any more weakness, that could be a potential area that you see a flip. This is the daily time frame. Above it, you have this small fair value gap here. As you're drawing liquidity, it may want to reach back up into above these relative equal highs. If it gets in and digs into that, which that's my bias, then I would anticipate that being your next strong liquidity there. So on the 15-minute, I guess what I would be doing is just waiting for runs of liquidity into sell side, which we're getting, and then displacement towards our higher time frame. Very clear buy side liquidity above all these highs right here on the 15-minute. So if you get some displacement away, you might be able to find an entry heading higher. That's what I'm going to stick with. It's what I'm going to stick with. All right. He can walk home for 100K. Good afternoon, Ikram H. Welcome into the stream, and thanks for jumping in the chat and saying hi. Yash Rathi, I am one of them. Cool. Mr. Alfie, John Jones, not really. It's a 30-minute drive. Cisco, I'm behind, but just seen the EN thing. I have a sell limit around there. Yeah. Yeah, the EN, that's kind of where I would be looking for a sell limit, is somewhere in here. It's not quite a 50%. I guess it's just below the sell limit would be just below that 50%, that premium to discount level. If you wanted price to get back into a premium, you would target above there. But I think this is the 30-minute breaker that I would be looking for to hold price down if it can move back up there. Thought you pulled a Mitch McConnell. Well, you got to ask me a direct question and I have to start to answer it, and then I'll just slowly veer off and freeze. And then I'll need my assistant to come in and grab me and awkwardly pull me away. Why do we have... John, don't get me started on our American politics, man. Ugh, why do we have geriatrics who obviously have mental issues? Why are they still at the center of our power and decision-making structures? I don't understand this. I just don't understand this. And who are the people that keep pushing them out in front of microphones to highlight said mental issues in front of the whole world to see, as though we're not just like we're just completely oblivious to the fact that the guy is having a mini stroke on national television? It's baffling to me. Baffling to me. Dollar leaving Friday's high in place yet again, still not willing to make an aggressive run above there. Ben says, do you think China will overtake the U.S. as the world's biggest economy and superpower? I think eventually they can. I don't think it's going to happen in the next year or two. No. China is having a severe issue with their economy right now. Every economy is in shambles, quite honestly. There's not a great economy anywhere, a very healthy economy anywhere in the world. even if it looks like the US economy is doing okay, everything underlying it is telling a completely different story. So my guess is that we're still headed for a recession in the US. The interest rates, the 30-year home mortgage rate is now above 8% here in the US. The income to housing purchase ratio is at the highest since like the 1950s after World War II. In most parts of the world, it takes like 10x your income to buy a house. Here in the States, it was around 3x your income to buy a house, and now that's like 5x your income. Interest rates are sky high. Nobody wants to sell because they are locked in at 2.5% or 3% interest rates. They don't want to pay 8% to sell, which means there's no homes on the market, which means people that have to buy or have to sell are getting into bidding wars, which keep prices inflated, which means no one can purchase. It's going to break. The system's going to break. That's the point that the Fed's trying to do. The Fed is trying to break it. That they keep telling you we're trying to have a soft landing to avoid a recession. It's never happened. It's never happened. The only way it can happen is if they keep manipulating the numbers. Because inflation, whatever they say inflation is right now, it's not. Just go out and walk around and live in the world for a little while, and you can obviously tell inflation is still out of control. The cost to borrow money is out of control. So to buy a car, to get a loan, a credit card, to buy a house, to start a business, it is absolutely insane how much you have to pay to borrow money right now. And they're trying to break it. That's the whole point, so that they can print more money. And by printing more money, they devalue the debt that they keep selling and make it cheaper to pay off. So it's just all a sick cycle that we're all caught up in, and we have no control over or power over it. And it's just kind of sad and depressing to think about if you just dwell on it too much. But will China has the ability to eventually do that. I just don't think they will yet. It's going to be a while. The dollar is still super strong. The U.S. economy, for all of its weaknesses, is still probably the strongest in the world. But that doesn't mean to say that it can't break quickly and rapidly and cause massive issues, which I think is more likely to happen than not. What about Biden, who has assistants grab his elbow to take him away, even shutting his mic off when they want him done speaking? Nobody would ever shut off Ronald Reagan's mic. Who was it that I saw tweet saying, like, I want to know who has the power to shut off the president's mic? Like, who is it behind the scenes that knows exactly what he's supposed to be saying and what he's not supposed to be saying? Like, who's the puppet master back there that's like, all right, turn him off? And it's not just him. It's not just Biden. He's probably out there the most, and it happens the most because he gets into these kind of rambles that just utter nonsense, or he just starts staring at people, cussing him out, chanting his name and saying F Joe Biden over and over. And he just looks at them like, what are you doing, man? I don't know. Politics, I hate. God, there's no one that's actually out there trying to do anything. Well, there's not enough people that can actually do anything, even if they cared. The true people in power are never going to let it happen on either side. They're not here for us, guys. Sorry to burst your bubble, but the governments do not exist for the people any longer. Have you ever looked at the U.S. debt clock on Google? It's absolutely wild. Yeah, it's crazy. The debt clock is insane. And currently, with the last debt limit bill that passed, they have an uncapped debt ceiling until 2025. Every other debt ceiling bill that has been passed, it's always just gone up a tick at a time, and they keep pushing it down. They keep pushing it further down. A few months later, they have to revisit it. Well, on this last one, they just said, you know what? No debt ceiling until 2025. That's the next time. It's uncapped until we revisit this in a year and a half. So just the whole purpose and plan, just listen, the whole purpose and plan is to to sell enough debt so that they have to print more money so they can devalue the debt they have. So they have all these dollars, they make the dollars worthless, which means that what you just sold for $10 is now worthless. That $10 is worthless because there's so many more trillions of dollars now to pay that off. That's the whole point. That's how they control debt, which means inflation just keeps going up, which means interest rates keep going up, which means the whole thing gets broken and there will be a massive recession. It cannot continue. It's mind-boggling to think about, quite honestly. Eventually, they'll just be like, you know what? Here's how we're going to fix this. We're just going to create a central bank digital currency, and then we'll just reset this whole thing. Yep. Look where you sent me off the rails today, y'all. The bonds are inverted to 100% signal of a recession. Yep. Yeah, you can just follow the bond prices and you can see where we're headed. Not good. It's really, really not. The S&P 500, the US 30, the NAS, they're all being held up by about 3 or 4 companies that are doing really well. And then the rest of them are not doing good at all, which is pretty much a picture of the rest of the country. There's a few things that are doing really well. And then most everybody else and everything else is just not doing good. And if they keep raising interest rates, if inflation is not under control. The last 2 inflation numbers that have come out here for the dollar, they've still been ticking upward. It's just not going to be. It's not going to be great. However this ends, it's not going to be good. Ben says, what's hilarious to me is when they say, wow, GDP has grown by 0.5%. Percent? What kind of a word is percent? Who am I? Grown by 0.5%. We are not going into a recession, but inflation is 6%. I know, it's insane. Like, they actually think we're dumb. I think they truly believe they still live in this mindset that says people believe the government. And if the news reports it, everyone thinks it's true. And what they haven't realized is that everyone has moved away from mainstream media. Very, very few people use that as their sole source of income for what's actually happening anymore. There are every information is so freely available. Everyone knows what they're doing. And they still continue to walk out and act like we don't realize what it is they're saying and doing. It's just mind-boggling to me that they have not changed. They have not adapted. They just keep saying the same things and they're like, nope, this is true. And we're all like, well, we're not dumb. Like, we can see the numbers. We can see the charts. We can see the information. And we can see that you're not being truthful. You're trying to, whatever it is you're saying is just to make yourself look good. That's it. That's the only reason you're talking right now, is to try to convince me that you're good, that you've done something positive. That's the only reason they ever open their mouths anymore. It's not to be honest. Ever. Never. The old adage applies more than ever. When is a politician lying? When his mouth is moving. Do, 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 do. Man, what a great GU trade off of that breaker today. What a beautiful, nice little setup. Fortunately, it's Monday outside of kind of my trading rules there. But really nice. Oh, I don't want to close that. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what I did all weekend. I played Starfield for hours and hours and hours this weekend. I did nothing but play Starfield. And I've gotten into shipbuilding. You can build your own starship, and it is freaking awesome. So for anyone who doesn't know, Starfield is a new video game that is put out by Bethesda, the company Bethesda, who made Skyrim and Fallout, both are which absolutely fantastic games. And now they've created Starfield. It's larger than Skyrim. It's larger than Fallout. And it is quickly becoming... I don't know that I love it more than Fallout yet, but it is so freaking awesome. I do truly love it. It is a great game. I still haven't found a good way to stream it on YouTube because Xbox only streams to Twitch, and then you got to go through all this other rigmarole to try to get it on YouTube. So I don't know. I just kind of like playing by myself. I got to be careful how I say that. I said by myself, John. I said playing by myself. I know where you're going. Immediately, I know where you're going. I would be interested to see what happens if Aussie dollar displaces down through here. Do 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 do. You've had a run of buy-side liquidity here. If we get displacement down through here, then I would look to see if we get any kind of a breaker or a fair value gap inside and try to target something, you know, up and around that could target these lows down here. Very well within our 2-to-1 area. So this is we'll just have to watch. It may not be today. Just watch that. Dollar's still trying to push up into Friday's high, but slowing down now as it reaches up into the current daily high here from the overnight session. Could get some consolidation tomorrow, maybe get a low of the week. Back below these lows, and then it runs it on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then we'll just see how the month finishes out. If we do tap into it this week, my guess is you tap into it, just reach it. I doubt it blows off. I mean, it could blow off this week, but if it just touches it and then you get a pullback into the end of September, and then October opens and you get a push down, and then you run it more aggressively through October on the dollar there. All right, it's Monday. There's not much more to talk about. I'll probably stay on for just another few minutes here, guys. And then we will probably call it a day. Mondays are typically shorter streams. And then we'll get into it the rest of the week. And I got to make a decision. I got to make a decision about these accounts. I got to make a decision. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm not sure. If we're going to reduce risk overall, or we're going to reduce risk on some and not others. I'm probably leaning more towards just reducing risk down to 1% on everything. It may, yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe the face one, maybe the 100K face one, I'll leave it 2% because it still has 3% overall. I don't know. I don't know. I'll make a decision before tomorrow's stream and I'll let you know what I'm going to do. But tomorrow, 9 a.m., we will be doing the 100K giveaway. So you need to go to my pinned tweet on the pinned tweet on Twitter has the post that, oh, I hope Twitter Picker, is Twitter Picker back up? Is it running? Because if it's not, that's going to be not good tomorrow. Because that's what I was planning on using to work. I need to see. Let me go grab that. I can actually grab that. I can just test it right now. So if I put that in, does it work? Invalid or expired token. Shoot, it's still not working. Oh, God. Twitter Picker is still not working. Okay, twitterpicker.io seems to be working. I wonder. Last time, though, it may not let me go through. There's a Twitter update. Please try later. Shoot. Oh, shoot. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Oh boy. That is not going to be good. That's going to cause for a lot of frustration tomorrow. Well, shoot, man. I don't know what to do about that because that's real frustrating. Put some names in a hat. I don't think that's going to come across as being very fair. I mean, we could always do the comment on the YouTube video. It just means everyone in the moment has to go do that. And that just kind of sucks and it's frustrating. So, I mean, we can use the YouTube comment, but it just sucks that that if we have to do that, everyone that is here then has to go find that video. Then they have to, leave a comment, and then we have to go through that whole rigmarole, and it's just a pain. My next target for GU is obviously, the first one would be last week's low here. And then below that, we have our, what is this? Our weekly volume imbalance here. I'm sorry, daily. I think that's a daily. Yeah, this daily, and it's a weekly too, I think. But this volume imbalance would be just below those. Where are we? Here we go. Oh, we've already taken out last week's, though. I don't know why I said that. The new low, make a new low of the day. But this volume imbalance here, and then below that, you have a weekly fair value gap below that volume imbalance. So you've got this volume imbalance and a fair value gap here. I think that's where we tap into. I think we at least get into that volume imbalance. Come on. Yeah. Yeah, Cisco, I think we're going to have to use YouTube again. It sucks. Or delay the 100th live stream until it's back up. I don't want to do that. Skip to stream 101. The 100K giveaway on on stream 101. We'll check it in the morning. Maybe all these little giveaways, coders will have updated their code for it to work, because I know there's a lot of people that like to use the Twitter giveaway website. So maybe they'll get it updated by tomorrow. If not, we're going to have to use the YouTube, and that just sucks. We can't just do, because the pinned tweets, like, repost it. That's all you have to do. And then they're going to come to the stream and they're like, okay, well, now you have to go comment on this. It's like bait and switch, and it makes people feel like I'm trying to jerk their chain and like scam the system or something for whoever wins. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. Oh. Dollar CAD, I'd be watching this little up close candle here. If it displaces through and can leave a fair value gap, potentially you might have a buy set up into the buy side liquidity targets up here. Very nice clean highs. We are expecting a bullish dollar. So this is your liquidity run into sell side, rebalance down into this buy side imbalance here. Run this liquidity, small little trend line, sell side liquidity. So if we can get displacement above there, that might be your first opportunity for a low risk buy. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait for some of these areas to get cleared, and then you can target the higher time frame liquidity. So no rush. We're not here to just push buttons and fix things or whatever you want to decide to call it. Oh my God, John. Come on, man. Why you gotta be that guy? Bastion has not been in the stream today. So I don't know. I think he was on I saw him on the Discord this weekend, maybe. I didn't really spend a lot of time on the Discord, honestly, this weekend. So maybe he was in there, maybe he wasn't. I don't remember. No giveaway today. He's not. John, you are brutal, man. John just calling it like he sees it. Let's be honest. All right. I think we're good, y'all. There's not much more here to see or for me to analyze. We've hit what we're anticipating. We know what we want to see. I do think Euro's going to take out last week's low. It's already taken out the morning low. GU is heading for its new daily low. I think it's going to reach down in here. Dollar is about to take out Friday's high, last week's high. Again, reaching for these relative equal highs is what we're anticipating. Don't know that we're going to be able to capitalize on that. At least I'm not with this specific strategy on a Monday. Maybe dollar CAD. It's starting to displace higher here. So depending on how the next 15-minute candle opens or closes, you potentially could have a dollar CAD set up here. Potentially. We'll need to wait, and I'll call this off the stream if it does set up. So, and if it does set up and I take a trade, I'm going to have to make a decision on my risk amount. So, Aussie dollar, again, waiting for some displacement lower there. Euro New Zealand, from our analysis, waiting for a sell back up into that 30-minute breaker. So there's a lot going on. We know what we're waiting for, what we're seeing. So cue the wrap-up music. That's right. I'm not a long goodbye guy. You know this. When I'm ready to say goodbye, I say goodbye and we get off the stream. But I think that's it. It's going to be it for today. You guys jump over in the Discord. I'll post anything on Twitter if I see a setup for the breaker setup. Otherwise, stay safe. Happy hunting. And we'll be back tomorrow for our 100K account giveaway. So you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Adios, y'all.